Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now, we're going to dive a little deep into the as above, so below aspects. Y'all know that's my thing. That's what I like. You know, that's where I like to that's the pool I like to swim in, you know. But basically showing how as quote unquote human beings in our physical nature, how we serve as atoms, you know what I'm saying, or atom, you know what I'm saying, the atom, you know, or Adam, like Adam and Eve. But how we serve as atoms to the macrocosm, you know what I'm saying. So say for instance, of course, with us being just a regular human, like we have, you know, the small atoms, then with us, but then to microcosm, our physical existence serve as an atom in essence, you know what I'm saying? Because like atoms is what allows for us to be connected. Because as much as you see my hands moving, you could say like, oh, this area right here is not connected to my hand. Well, I mean, you know, there's atoms everywhere, so you know everything right here is connected in that essence. But I want to definitely speak to my insight on that, because I basically speaking on how as humans we pass information along just like an atom does, you know, in essence. But also too a certain perspective about our earthly existence. You know, I don't know if I spoke to it before, but basically I had a vibe that, you know, I feel like this is a plane of existence, so whether it's flat or round, you know, I'm not really getting into that part, but just more so like dealing with the sun. So basically I had a vibe that the sun could actually be like a hole in the firmament, if you want to say firmament for lack of a better word, but basically like a little hole, you know, like you say, for instance, this is the sun, you know, the outside world, bringing in that light. And, you know, a matter of fact, for example, you know, like if you was to be in a closet, like a dark closet, and somebody had the light on outside in the room or whatever, you know, like the light coming through that keyhole would be extremely, you know, like it would be bright as if somebody has a bright light outside, but it's really just the fact that the keyhole is concentrating that light, you know what I'm saying? So even though that light is not concentrated outside, it gets concentrated as it passes through the keyhole, so it seems extremely bright. So that's where you get the effect of the sun, you know, seeming so bright, is from that aspect. And again, this is all my downloads and, you know, just sharing my like I say, my theory in essence, so to speak, on my download. I'd rather use that word. And two, I thought about, like, you know, like basically how we talk about, you know, when we say culture, like culture, in the essence of its definition is like being on a petri dish. You know, that's why you think about your kombuchas, they call like the bacteria culture, the culture of bacteria, you know, culture being on a petri dish, you know, and it's kind of like a little petri dish, you know. And also like an eye, you know, again, that's what I wanted to say too, is like we're also like inside of an eye. That's what I really wanted to say, you know, like so just like, you know, our, what it is, the retina, if I'm not mistaken, you know, but the part that opens and closes, matter of fact, when the sunlight changes. So looking at that aspect, as a matter of fact, our eyes are just constantly consuming, you know, what's outside of us. And that would be like the same aspect of being, you know, inside of this eye, where it's consuming what's out. And matter of fact, that's what I caught. Like, so basically, it's consuming what's outside of it and projecting it right here. And I feel like, you know, just like on our spiritual path, you know, like where it should be, the inside being projected, you know, outward into the world. But just to not go too deep into it, into that aspect, I should say. You know, it's like we in the eyeball. You know, we always speak to being like you know, the dream of God, like basically like we are God dreaming of itself in essence. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be far-fetched to think that, you know, like, and two, we dealing with vision, like, you know, we in a physical nature where we can see ourselves. You know, we dealing with being able to see things. You know, you see with your eyes. You know, so that also you know, creates that type of connection. And I think about the video, shout out to Brother Rich in the Black Magic channel, where he was speaking on the information that David Icke had in his book. I forgot the name of the book, but just talking about how, like, you know, we are a projection of our higher self. You know, so basically, you know, our higher self exists on this, you know, on a dimensional plane, you know, away from here, and we are just a small percentage of that big whole, you know, being projected, like in essence, like a telescope type of vibe, you know, being projected down here onto this, you know, again, onto this screen or this petri dish. You know, it's the area right here. Matter of fact, so basically, yeah, us being inside of the, you know, the Godhead in essence, because all is mind. You know, and matter of fact, with the association of dealing with, you know, and that's why I say that part can get tricky, because of course, you know, you could say that what goes on inside of here is a projection from what's out there, you know, but vice versa, both could be, you know, because even as above, so below in our spiritual walk, you know, I could either, you know, choose to tap into my inner God self and how can I say, and what's going on inside me, or project outside, or I could feel like I'm you know, subject to what's going on outside of me, you know, and where I look at the outward world as the real world, and that, you know, and it then projects to what's inside of me, so it becomes the world that's inside of me, you know. So if I'm looking outside and I see war and this and that, I see people doing whatever, like I'm like, all right, I accept that, you know what I'm saying, and it becomes me, compared to like, all right, no, the outside world is a culmination of, you know, a bunch of other thoughts, so let me pay attention to my inside so that I can project, you know, outwardly, instead of paying attention to outwardly and letting that project inside of you, you know. But and down to the next part too. So say for instance, also with being in a, you know, say for example, like being in the eyeball, you know, and the example of how, like, basically our eyes and the sun, you know, are, everything is connected, but just through the essence of, like, you know, say if you're looking at something and it's far away, you know, but you seeing it in essence, so that means you seeing the light of it. By seeing the light of it, that means that light is entering your eyes. So that means that from wherever that light coming from to it hitting your eyes, there's no separation. You know, there's a connection from there to here. You know what I'm saying? So also too, like how as humans we are that atom. You know, like, because again, from that sun, from that light source, you know what I'm saying, in essence, you know, the light is traveling through each atom, you know, like it's connecting to each atom all the way to, you know, till it reaches our eye and gives us the information that, you know, that we need to deal with. But as humans, we pass ideas and images along to each other, just like atoms, you know, like in the sunbeam again. But two, what really made me have this little aha moment about this was basically I passed by a billboard that had the Osho, so basically like the Osho Wild Wild Country on Netflix, you know, and I was just like, damn, how basically, you know, that documentary was first a thought, you know, like an idea first, like it was something non-physical, you know what I'm saying, and then that non-physical thought went into somebody, and then that person passed that, you know, that energy, that thought to the next person, and here it goes from atom to atom, you know what I'm saying? Because atom too is the masculine or the physical nature of our being, you know, in essence. You know, so from atom to atom, you know, next thing you know, it ends up on the billboard, you know what I'm saying? That light idea, you know, that light of consciousness, you know, travels to be on the billboard from us passing it, you know, from being to being. Again, like seeing our physical nature is that you know, that masculine aspect to put things into the physical, you know what I'm saying? The feminine aspect, in which too, because I do want to, because there is a difference, you know. The feminine aspect could be, you know, seen as the physical nature, and it could be seen as the, so let me put it in perspective, on the yin and yang vibe, you know what I'm saying? Like the male energy is more of like the fiery light energy, you know, more of the non-physical energy, and the feminine energy is more of like, you know, like the earth, you know, the grounding aspect, you know what I'm saying? But when we talking about taking physical action to do things, you know, so not so much being in the physical, but taking physical action. So us being you know, a piece of matter that takes care of actions, that's a masculine aspect, you know what I'm saying? And that vibe of atom, you know, atom, you know, like atom, you could see is that masculine aspect to carry out the feminine energies, you know, to carry out the feminine energies consciously, you know what I'm saying? Like, or should I say, you know, that feminine energy could just exist in that chaotic nature. It took that logical masculine energy to, like, you know, like almost like, again, box it in, Saturn energy, you know what I'm saying? But to concentrate it into a place of being able to, you know, put actions to things, you know what I'm saying? Because here it is, you know, like chaotic thoughts and just ideas just everywhere, you know. But it's basically, you know, just it's everywhere without having some type of grounding, without having some type of action put to it, you know what I'm saying? So you can see our physical existence is the action to our non-physical existence, you know what I'm saying? We are that, you know, that masculine, logical, making it happen, you know, on a physical level vibe, you know. And again, the female, on like the yin and yang vibes, you know, embodies the physical aspect more, because you think about, matter of fact, the sunlight, you know, light, you know, solar phallic light, you know, Papa Legba energy, you know, solar phallic light, you know, light is something that is not physical in essence, but it's the action, you know, like the that part of the masculine vibe, as far as with us, you know, being in the physical. But again, so masculinity, or that Lucifer aspect, was the first savior, you know, the light, Lucifer, you know what I'm saying? Let there be light, you know, that masculine energy to come down to physical. And what they always talk about, Lucifer, you know, you're into all these worldly things in the material world, the devil, the material world, you know what I'm saying? Like, those things coincide, you know, because that light, you know, that light that was projected down in order to have a physical world, because in essence the physical world is nothing but, you know, but light in essence, you know, light that we perceive to be as something solid, you know. So again, you see that, you know, the masculinity aspect, from dealing with Lucifer, you know, that first savior to save us from that primordial, you know, in essence, feminine aspect, you know, that feminine aspect of just being all one, and just, you know, it's like that Lucifer was like, you know, shine a little light on the situation, was like, oh man, where does perfection come from, and why do we have to keep things like this, you know? That's basically that energy. Matter of fact, and it's also the story of Atlantis, where the beings from Mars, what I'm saying, came and, overpowered the feminine beings. Because you think about that story happened as above, so below on so many levels. First, it happens on the energetic level, where the feminine aspect was by itself. Then it created that masculine aspect. That masculine aspect got overpowering and started to, enslave the feminine aspect. You had that within the Atlantis story. You have it now in the story of religion, in essence, where it was like taken away from, the feminine essence, and it was over masculinized, where you got the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit with no woman, as if men walking around here having babies, by themselves, or just to say it like they are the ones who are having babies, But the Atlantis story ties directly to that, as well. And I mean, and the beginning creation of the beginning in the Bible also deals with that Mars and Aries energy as well, or masculine energy. But again, it's like we serve as those atoms, that physical existence to allow consciousness to ground, that Malkut, that the bottom Sephiroth that allows for the unseen energies to be quote unquote seen, in essence, and to actually to allow those energies to be able to take action, like energy can't take action just being the unseen energy, it needs something, it has to like I pick up this camera and move my hand, like it has to be able to do that, like right now, perfect example, from whether you look at it from a ghost perspective or just like energy by itself, like just like with the movie Ghost, though, with Patrick Swayze, where he was trying to move things, he couldn't move, he was trying to hit a Coke can, but he couldn't, because that physical. Now, of course, though, he learned how, in the context of the movie, he learned how to channel a vibration of love and a certain concentration level where he was able to hit the the can from that realm. And then too, that's where you see though where some beings who can possibly move things in this physical realm without being here physically, in essence, but it still comes from that a connection in some way to some type of grounding energy, because in essence Patrick Swayze character in the movie tapping into that love, the love that he was tapping into was the love for something that he had on earth, in essence. So with that he was able to hit that can because of that. But again, it's just an energy, and it doesn't necessarily have a way to actually and then you look at it on another level where, like, all right, if I really do want to build, something, I do have to be hands-on. Like, of course, so say for the Ghost, like the Patrick Swayze character, where, of course, you can learn how to be in the non-physical and move things on the physical realm, but it's much more, quicker, easier, to just be in the physical body and do what you got to do, And again, it's about the balance, because we were overly in the feminine vibe, so it's like the masculine vibe created, and then what we've been dealing with lately is that over masculine vibe. Now I realize, after going through the trial and error, like, all right, maybe this would be better if we just balance these two hemispheres out. Bring them together. And as above, so below, in essence too, like. Again, the physical representation of the universe, like as a man and woman, we represent the masculine and feminine energies of existence in a human body, basically. And want to tap into some information. It's kind of, like I say, going off a little bit, but somewhat in the same area. But talking about how So of course I was talking about, atoms and the as above, so below aspect, but now speaking more so to our spiritual growth and, just the way things operate. But basically there's a certain etiquette, on higher realms, and I say etiquette for lack of a better word, but there's a certain etiquette on the higher realms, and that's why we are coached in a certain, we're coached into certain godly habits while we're here on earth, because, on these other planes of existence, it has a certain type of etiquette, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't get invited to the party if you don't know how to groom yourself properly. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain things you gotta, and as you learn that, then you get into that party, as above, so below. Just like with how we invite each other to certain parties, like, oh, you gotta be on this level of whatever, to get into this party, and like, all right, get to that. And then you find out, oh wait, there's even, there's another set of exclusive parties where you got, grow another place to get to that set of parties, and then, and then you realize that there's a club, and it's continuously, because as above, so below. We are a physical representation of that golden mean ratio, infinitely, spiraling out. In fact, or the pi, 3.14, or there's 22/7. But the pi is, goes on infinitely. As a matter of fact, pi, which in essence closely related to the word five, off, phi and five. You know what I'm saying? And two, when you think about pi, again, the golden mean ratio, you know what I'm saying? The top of our toroidal field spins with that golden mean ratio. Now, of course, it may not be perfect depending on your health, because if you're not keeping yourself healthy, then your Torus field is not really spinning in that perfect golden mean ratio as it should, but, and I had a video that spoke to how the Torus field, even though it's kind of circular, it does kind of have like a 5-pointed type of like a pentagon vibe, in the toroidal field, kind of like how I explained, like how the apples, have the when you cut an apple in half, how can I say, across, you'll see that in the middle where the seeds at, it got like a 5-pointed star, and it's a representation, of in essence, in correlation to the pi or the 5, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, the 5 points is in correlation to pi, but basically though, again, like, you get to a certain level of growth and you find out that it's a club higher than that. But that's the thing, like, we're being coached through these certain habits, because it's like, if you can't deal with a human being looking different from you, then how you gonna get to these higher planes of existence where beings look extremely different from a human? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't deal with a human that just has a different skin color than you, how you gonna deal with a different being? So it's certain levels to, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you can't manage having children, then how could you become a planet? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the whole thing too. I thought about that. I caught the download, like, basically like we politicking to be a planet, and that's for some of us. Some of us are wanting to ascend to these certain different levels. We, to each his own on our ascension path and what we want to do, as we grow, as a soul. But like I spoke to, like, politicking to be a plant. Because matter of fact, like, as your Torus field spins more perfectly in that golden mean ratio, you become a shareable wave in essence. A shareable wave just means, like, a wave that, that's easy to connect with, for lack of a better word, you know what I'm saying? So if you continuously making your, doing your bliss experience, meditating and eating healthy, your Torus field grows, you know what I'm saying? And it allows for more people to connect, kind of, and two, as above, so below, like, even with the expansion of, of source as a being, you know what I'm saying? Like, it has to amplify the unconditional love and the high vibrations within the body in order for the Torus field to grow. So we got to get our shit together on earth in order for the other aspects of God to, to grow. But yeah, we basically like politicking to be a planet, you know what I'm saying? Connecting, because say for instance, if you could be a person that connected with a lot of people and, people really vibe with, on a human level, then people wouldn't mind living on you as a planet, you know what I'm saying? Like, or dealing with you as a planet, you know what I'm saying? Like if you happen to be a planet, which a cool concept of that situation was on a Green Lantern cartoon. One time I watched where one of the Green Lanterns was an actual planet, you know what I'm saying? And here it is, like people thought, like when they would go to the planet, they thought they was looking for an actual person, not realizing that they was on the person, you know what I'm saying? Well, and like once they realized it, like the planet, again, like how Earth could do, basically start making the trees and stuff swallow the dude up, you know what I'm saying? Like with a consciousness of the being, the planet, started attacking the guy who was coming at a killer, thinking he was coming to kill a human. But again, it's politicking to be a planet, so expanding, or should I say, getting into these connecting with the Kundalini, like raising the Kundalini, connecting with these blissful states, raising the vibration within our body in order to, expand the Torus field and grow more. Now also, I feel like our existence, we talk about like the Kali Yuga and, going through all these cycles and stuff like that. As above, so below, I feel like we're energetically just cycling through a Torus field, you know what I'm saying? Going in it and out it, inside of it and being on the outskirts, And matter of fact, and moving up and down, so just like moving up and down the spine too, as above, so below, the energy moving in that microcosmic orbit, from the root chakra, up the spine, to the crown, to the front of the face, you know what I'm saying? And coming down the front, and back to the root chakra in a little circle, in a cycle. Matter of fact, and going through the, basically through the Lucifer and Christ energies, you know what I'm saying? From the root to the crown, back to the root, you know what I'm saying? Because the Christ story and the Lucifer story, both one and the same in essence, Christ born in the manger. The manger is the root chakra, the root chakra, the manger full of shit and animals, your root chakra is animalistic, and you're also close to your anus, you know what I'm saying? Well, where the shit at, you know what I'm saying? So the Christ energy being, born in the manger, or Lucifer, coming down, descending, you know what I'm saying? And which that story is also within the Christ story of like, and then Christ descended into hell, you know what I'm saying? But in essence, that Lucifer energy, coming down to be in the physical, coming out of the high vibes of the non-physical to come down into the physical, for a different experience, but let other people who didn't want things to change, they would see Lucifer as, somebody evil. He changed things, you know what I'm saying? The people who, really wanted that liberation looked at Lucifer as the light bearer, the giver of light, that helped us out, that shine that light or that truth. That's why Luciferians deal with, revealing the truth, you know what I'm saying? Because in essence, like that Lucifer aspect of questioning perfection, like questioning things, where did all this come from? But that's the whole vibe of that connection. So again, moving up and down, so basically moving in and out of the Torus field. So when we going through, the dark ages and the light age, so say for instance, when we're going through a dark age, that's probably because we're on the outskirts of the Torus field. You know what I'm saying? So say for instance, just like the tornado. And too, as above, so below, you see the Torus field is like the beginning of I don't know if it's meiosis or mitosis, but like in a cell split. But the tornado, the Torus field is right here. And I was speaking to that fast. Yeah. And so, and two, look at it like cycling in and out of the Kundalini as well, because we have this cycle within the body, but you can look at it as so the energy comes inside of here, and when you're inside of yourself, you know what I'm saying, you truly connected to your source, you know what I'm saying, like you in your Torus field, you in your being. But then when that energy comes out and cycle out here, then you know that energy is a little disconnected from that inner being, you know, and that could be considered the dark ages, those ages when people, you know, lose their connection to the inner source, you know what I'm saying, literally and figuratively speaking, you know, when you look at the diagram of it, you know what I'm saying, it's like they way out here, you know what I'm saying, in the wilderness, you know, Moses in the wilderness and all these little stories, you know what I'm saying, it's being you know, further out in that Torus field. And also see it as again also you see it as the Kundalini energies rising up the spine, you know, as the Ida and the Pingala, the masculine and feminine energies going up the spine, you know. So there's also representation with that, but also what I want to say. So which indirectly also turns into a vessel for Pisces. But so like, you know how they draw the thing and they be like, we are right here, and then we go through the little cycle, you know what I'm saying? But you know, like when you look at the paradigm shift, because a paradigm is like a paradigms, you know, like two dimes inside each other, a paradigm shift, you know, going in one energy and out of the other. Also a figure eight, you know what I'm saying? So an infinite flow of life is also evident in this situation as well. You know, you can see the feminine energy on one side and the masculine energy coming down on the other side, you know. But it's all connected. So we going through these ages, we could see ourselves as like going through the Torus field of the body of God, you know what I'm saying? And when we going through these ages of being connected to our higher self, we're inside the tornado, we're inside the Torus field of Source, and then, you know, and what I'm speaking on is one of many truths. I feel like what I'm saying is, you know, 100% correct, actually, even though I don't, again, this where it comes to the point of where it's people that's going to be writing books, you know what I'm saying, like they got information out there already, but it's some of us is going to be bringing down new information, you know, in essence, quote unquote new, because, you know, it's never really anything new, so to speak, but, you know, within this timeline, you know, so again, what I'm sharing with you right now is, in essence, how I say, it's a very, very highly likely chance, like a 90%, that, you know, this is the truth of, or the reality, I should say, because people could manipulate what's true. You know what I'm saying? People could go around the world forcing people to accept a certain religion, and if they get everybody to accept that religion could now become the truth. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna have to do a video diving deeper into that difference between reality and truth. You know, because again, I don't know if y'all caught where I spoke on it, but for myself, like, you know, that was an eye opener for myself, because I used the word like, you know, God is truth so much. When I heard that, you know, of course the ego wanted to be like, well, no, you know, I still say God is true. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, whenever, matter of fact, quick little side note, whenever you find yourself trying to be right about something, you're in your ego, you know, you're in that aspect of your ego that don't benefit you, the one that hinders your growth. Like trying to be right, because in that moment I could have tried to be right back. Well, no, you know, I still think it's the word truth. But nah, it's like I was completely in my being where I'm like, hey, you know what? That is true. You know what I'm saying? What he just said is true, and that's just, well, you know, like, well, maybe it is more so, you know, a reality and not necessarily a truth, because somebody could turn something that's a lie into, you know, a truth in essence. You know, so that's a real interesting aspect to think about. But again, you know, cycling in and out of the torus field of source, you know, is like, so we talk about these paradigm shifts and going through these different processions. Matter of fact, every 24,000 years, you know, we go through a different, you know, cycle in essence. So we'll see that cycle is, you know, inside the torus field, outside it, inside it, outside it, you know. Matter of fact, in like a little figure 8 too. Outside, inside, and come out over here. You know, just like a tornado, you know. And also moving in the Fibonacci spiral. I did another older video about like that vibe of like this is a horrible job, but you know that little vibe of that little vortex looking vibe, you know, but it's basically like, so the top of your, you know, at the top of your torus field, you know, the energy moves in the golden mean ratio. And another thing too, so you start to see the golden mean ratio allows for the expansion without the lines crossing or disrupting each other's path. So basically constructive wave interference. And you should check out some of Dan Winter's videos to really get deeper into that concept. But basically what was I last week? Yeah, with the golden mean ratio, it's almost like, again, as above so below with writing programming, you know what I'm saying? Well, you write a certain program, and to say, for instance, to do averages, you know, and then you write that program, but then, you know, somebody put a certain set of numbers in, like, or say, for instance, you didn't realize that if you put a certain number in, it could throw off the situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, so basically, like, just with any, like, you know, just with anything, I'll say, for instance, you got a computer program set up to do averages, but you didn't prompt in the program, you didn't prompt the message of like to only read numbers instead of words. So in other words, let's just say, I'm trying to think of the perfect way, but it's basically like the golden mean ratio allows for things to expand without interruption, you know, like, because you got certain algorithms where, say, for instance, it probably was another equation that, you know, allowed for things to expand, but then come somewhere down the line, whether it be, you know, and we dealing with the illusion of time, so whether it be, say, for instance, considered to be like 10,000 years down the line, but like at some point where there's gonna come a big crash, like, and like mess everything up, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what the golden mean ratio prevents, you know what I'm saying? The golden mean ratio allows expansion without the waves, you know, destructively interfering with each other. You know, they constructively interfere with each other, so I mean they do cross paths in essence, but it's in a way that's constructive and beneficial. And then you see, as above so below, that's why as humans, you know, we should be more harmonic in the way we, you know, deal with each other, you know, because again, God is everything. So think about, like, if you're not in harmony with your body, you know what I'm saying? That's the same thing as humans not being in harmony with each other, because that's the body of earth being, you know, disharmonic, you know what I'm saying? Like a dis-ease within the body, you know, if it's just dis-ease within the human beings or the immune system on earth, because that's what the humans are. I mean, humans are the immune system to earth, you know? We clean up things, you know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, I'm out here in downtown, or like I think about, let's say Bourbon Street in New Orleans, you know, at the end of the night, you know, they got that little clean team that come and clean up the street, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, immune system. And also, you know, sharing information, like, you know, say, for instance, as above, so below, like as humans, you might travel from Mexico to Alaska, and when you do that, you're traveling with some type of information. You know, you're bringing a certain type of energy that didn't exist in Alaska to Alaska. You know, same thing with the movement of cells in the body. You know, on that level. But again, the golden mean ratio allows for expansion without without destructive wave interference, And two, you start to see like how all this correlate, again, the flower of life, how they speak on the flower of life is the embodiment of unconditional love. The flower of life also is the embodiment of the golden mean ratio, and again, it is also considered the hologram of love, because matter of fact, basically what the flower of life is basically like how in which I write to the example of beryl, the crystal beryl has atomic lattice, so like you got the crystal lattice, Lattice. It's basically like the lattice is like the horizontal lines or the masculine blueprint, that the energy, develops in on the physical level. So, the flower of life is like the blueprint of the energy, you know what I'm saying? But basically, again, it's a display of the flower of life is a display of the golden mean ratio, and in essence, so you see like the golden mean ratio and unconditional love, the flower of life, so expanding without destructive interference, you know what I'm saying? And expanding without destructive interference, that doesn't mean like again on a human level, like us being different or having disagreements, that's nothing wrong with that, you know what I'm saying? It's whenever we fall into the illusion of being our thoughts is what really separates, and that's what causes clashes. Because here it is, instead of being a part of the body that I should be, I'm over here trying to think that I'm something, way out, what I'm saying, outside of my purpose in essence. Again, you see the correlation of the as above, so below. We are just physical walking, talking aspects of energies, of just accumulation of different energies of the wholeness of God. Like, we are a physical representation of that. And that's also another thing too, where, the fractals and the, like how each fractal of the whole, so say for instance, is expansion of that whole, into, a bunch of fractals. And each one of the fractals, although a smaller piece of the whole, embodies the whole within it, you know what I'm saying? So, just like there's the zodiac signs outside of zodiac signs within us, like, so I'm trying to think. Like how you got, chakras in your body, also in the extensions of your body. So you also got like, so say for instance, in your hand, you got areas that connect to, you got the, how can I say, is it the macrocosm of your body in your hand? Microcosm or macrocosm? But basically, your body is in your hand when you think about reflexology, where certain areas of the hand deals with certain body parts. So here it is, where again, the wholeness of the being is in certain parts of the being as well, so even the parts of the whole embodies the whole, you know what I'm saying? So even my search, so just like me as a body embodies the whole, because my body is just a part to the big picture, and then I have my body, and then on my body, my hand is just a part to the big picture, of my body, you know what I'm saying? And then the cell within my hand is just a part, to the big situation of the hand, you know what I'm saying? Like it just fractals out, infinitely, to the again to the micro, smallest levels down to the most biggest levels. But the never-ending story, infinite. When you think about pi is infinite. Pi never end. Matter of fact, I would think. Matter of fact, shout out to Torus for connecting with me with geometry. Because when I think about like when I dealt with math, like my favorite, like the only time I ever enjoyed math in my life was with geometry. And now looking back, now it's like, all right, I see why, why I could still remember isosceles triangles and you know, in all these different situations. Which, look, as I said, I don't remember as much as I thought I remember in this moment, but you know, that's why the geometry violin, and that's what I was thinking too, because our teacher, we had a little project where basically we would bring numbers in. We had numbers that we would put around the whole classroom, and it's basically like the numbers of pi. So, you know, like how in essence they teach us just the 3.14, but the teacher was like, you know, we're gonna you know, go past that and show all the numbers that go past pi, you know, on its infinite, you know, level. So basically we just kind of kept that vibe going, and you would get extra points for bringing in a number that would add to the you know, to pi. But just seeing, you know, as a matter of fact, indirectly, source moving through my teacher, teaching me the importance of pi, you know what I'm saying, eating that pie. When you think of pie, you know, that circular pie, you know, that you eat. That's why they make a piece of pie in a circle, because pi deal with, you know, cycles and circles. But you know, again, that's just the whole existence. So when we going through these different the Kali Yuga, you know, the Silver Age or the Bronze Age, you know what I'm saying? Not LeBron, the basketball player, the Bronze Age. You know, we're going through all these ages. Shout out to LeBron though. When we're going through all these different ages, it's basically just cycling through the, you know, through source, through the macrocosm of source, and seeing how this, again, how this happens throughout all aspects of life, where the whole aspect is even in the parts. You know what I'm saying? Again, because there's a certain, you know, there's certain planets that goes to certain areas of my hand. You know what I'm saying? So again, there's certain planets that go to the wholeness of my body, but then also within parts of my body, you know, that same blueprint of like, was a certain finger that's associated with Saturn, or a certain, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the whole aspect, you know, in all of the parts, in a infinite, continuously expansion and contraction, you know, in essence. Because of course you're expanding, but you're also going back within the toroidal field, which is implosion. You know, some, you know, things could explode outward, and then you got implosion, which means inward. But it's like imploding inward, but at the same time expanding, and showing like a torus field is a perfect balance, you know, of sucking in and going out. You know what I'm saying? And contracting and expanding, doing both perfectly. You know what I'm saying? Not just one, not just expanding, not just contraction, expanding and contracting, create a perfect balance. You know, that's the whole vibe. Is that basically, you know, again, we just physical representations, you could almost say, of like principles, but I mean just of energies, you know what I'm saying, on all levels. You know, whether you could be the embodiment of a certain constellation, you know, the embodiment of a certain color, like it's all that, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, we are the universe, you know what I'm saying, or God, source, however you like to look at it. We are God experiencing itself, you know, on a physical level. But that's it. You know, and again, reason why I'm so heavy on these aspects of as above, so below, and, you know, like, because you would think like, well, how does deep science, this and that gonna help? Well, because once you realize that, you know, our existence lines up with the science of things, you know what I'm saying? So when we talk about, you know, like, where it's undeniable that, say for instance, I'm trying to think of didn't think of a certain situation, but anyway, just with the vibe of like the as above, so below aspect of realizing certain things. Apologies, y'all. the as above, so below aspect could open us up to a lot of realizations. So the reason why I deal with these aspects that may seem like they're out there in essence, is because to show you, even though they seem out there, there is truth in this information. And if there's truth in this information, that means it holds a certain truth in our existence. You know what I'm saying? So if they find out the science of like a toroidal field spins at this ratio or whatever, then that would go to other things in life as well. So again, as above so below, if I know that if I operate a certain way, then I know the moon operates a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, as above so below breakdowns allow for you to have expansive aha moments without having to pick up a book. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, you think about, again, like how I thought about how the eyes and how we could be basically in the eyeball, where it's possible for us to be in the eyeball, in a projection, like when we say we God's dream, inside the eyeball, projection of what source seeing outside of itself, dealing with its outside and insides and balancing that out, as above so below. So if matter of fact, if we dealing with balancing ourselves out and having to get this this thing together, then at some point in time, source, the wholeness of that which shall not be named doing the same thing. So again, when you break down the as above so below aspects, it just really gets you just into those deeper aha moments without having to ask others for questions, or look at videos all the time, or read books. All those things are good avenues of bringing information in. But again, you could just sit down with the as above so below concept and just find so many aha moments out of it. Like as above so below, like all right, if a bus exists, so say for instance public transit, if we have the idea of public transit here as humans on this planet, that must mean public transit exists within my body. That must mean like there's some type of system or some type of cell that passes through the body and allows for different cells, no matter what walk or creed or color, these cells come from, they are able to be transported on this bus, and into certain regions of the body, instead of having to walk there, they could hop into this bus and get a speedy again, I didn't have to pick up no book to, like, I had that aha moment right here in front of y'all within seconds, just again, just going with that as above so below aspect, you could just, it allows for you to get more into a knowing, because if I know I do one thing, I know the universe is doing it on that level as well, But that's basically it. And again, you just see the importance of the Torus field and keeping the Torus field, together. As a matter of fact, even like what it's talk about, like with the heat, like messing up the food. Like I did a video how the heat messes up the live enzymes, where it busts the Torus field. So if you got a planet with a whole bunch of people that, where they eating unhealthy and not taking care of themselves, and the toroidal field is not spinning properly, then that trickles out into the macrocosm. Now Earth is the big Torus field of Earth is now weakening because the little small Torus fields within the cells of its body, or aka within the humans on this body, is dwindling. So it dwindles, you know what I'm saying? Same thing, and everything count, so like I'm a realist with that. So like when I know, like me smoking my cigars instead of knowing I could be smoking healthier, or matter of fact, or vaping instead of smoking, like all these little situations count. Like as much as we like to think that, oh, you don't have to do, I mean, of course you don't necessarily have to do any of it, if you want to be technical on that level, but whatever. Sometimes it happens. I digress. which I know is gonna come back to me in a few seconds, but that's basically it. Just understand these concepts, because again, if I know that the golden mean ratio, in the flower of life, sources, allowing for waves to interconnect without destructively interfering, then I know to keep things going, to keep things expanding and growing here on this planet as a human, I gotta do things that allows for people Torus fields to grow. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta be harmonic about what I'm doing. So if I'm doing anything that causes, disharmony to the body, then I'm, I'm throwing the situation off. But I see myself kind of zapping out of these thoughts, so I'm about to fall back. But that's basically it, y'all. Just, expanding on these ideas. This is what, is the true existence of our nature, It's like really understanding these concepts. Like this information it should be what, what they teach in schools. Like, starting off, like, say for instance, kindergarten, matter of fact, like, that'd have been so cool. Just thinking about that, like, chakra coloring books, you know what I'm saying? Like, what we'd have been learning about our chakras, and like, so, kindergarten, you mostly learn about your root chakra. Hey, these are the beginning stages of life. These are chakra, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, that would have been, that, matter of fact, look, that could have been us, oppressing people on this planet, but nah, you want to, you want to educate people and to your little new world order and control the planet, so we couldn't be great. We couldn't have coloring books on chakras, as a little kid, because you wanted to rule the world. But of course, the contrast that existed, that pressure to create the diamond, of course. But peace, happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now.